You may not be able to tell from the way I talk, but I'm from South Louisiana, deep in the marshes. The summer heat mixed with the unbearable humidity makes it a nightmare to work in the yard, which is how I would earn my money during the summer. So I've created an object that will do all the hard work for me. Hi, I'm Jules Colley, and my object is called the Grass Mower 3000. I got the idea for my first day home. My dad asked me to cut grass for him, and it was extremely hot outside. My early prototypes were based off the same robot chassis used in the 120 class because that is what I had access to. I designed a much better chassis but did not have the correct tools and materials to make it. I even went as far as using my dial calipers to make sure the marks were in the correct places for the correct devices. The battery pack is the battery pack of a smoke alarm that I had cut up to use. I decided to mount the battery pack in the front in hopes of giving the servo tires more traction. The blade assembly I designed was made by cutting the spokes out of a servo wheel, then supergluing weed-eating strings into holes that I drilled into the sides to connect with pre-existing holes in the wheels themselves. I then epoxied the whole assembly to the shaft of the DC motor and wired it directly to the voltage in port and the ground port of the Arduino. It worked very well. The code I used is a basic code which contains user-defined functions for the forward, backward, and turn actions of the robot, as that is the only experience I have with coding servos. Here is a demonstrational video of how my DC motor and blade assembly worked. It worked quite well, but did not do well under tension. The servos simply could not perform in grass. I tried various solutions, but had to resort to doing my sample run on concrete. The robot was quite basic in what it could do due to my lack of coding ability and lack of supplies. My aspirations for this project were quite high coming into the quarter, but were shot down due to the pandemic and switched to online classes. I simply did not have access to better parts and real-time feedback from peers, instructors, or teammates. I would have loved to see what could have become of this project if there were multiple engineering students with different skill sets and perceptions working on this project in unison. The struggles and pitfalls I experienced during this project were mostly due to the scenario we put in because of the pandemic. I found myself having to jimmy rig a lot of components that were vital parts to this project, and I think that with the right tools could have been executed much better. I would have loved to design and produce a 3D printed blade assembly instead of having to cut up a servo tire. As a class, we all missed out on the opportunity to collaborate with our fellow peers and create something amazing. In conclusion, I had a blast designing and creating an idea that was influenced by a member of my family. I wish that the conditions of the project could have been different, because this would have been an amazing experience to collaborate with my fellow engineering peers and put all of our backgrounds and skill sets towards a common goal.